Alright, let's give this a try. So this is going to be Deadmines as a Mistweaver Monk at level 15. So I don't know how many people watching this are WoW players. I'll try and make it reasonably accessible for those of you who may not be. Showing the whole process of queuing for the dungeon here, just for completeness. I'll probably skip that for the rest of these. So yeah, queue up, wait a little while, do some other stuff. Eventually this pops up and you get to enter the dungeon. So, disclaimer, this is not a dungeon guide. I'm not an expert at this game. This represents my personal experience with a random dungeon group. I'm recording my own blunders so that I won't have to make them again. This is kind of just a memory aid for me, but I thought it might be fun to share it. So anyway, wait for everybody to click the ready button, and then you get teleported to the dungeon. So at level 15, I don't have a whole lot of tools. This was the first dungeon run I had done in this game in like 15 years. No, that's not the right number. 8 years. Getting ahead of myself here. Anyway, first dungeon run I had done in like 8 years. I feel like I got pretty good at it. I knew all the dungeon roles. I knew all the classes at the time back when I played before. Well, not all of them, but most of them. But you know, I was extremely rusty. So working through 8 years of rust here. Whole new character, new class, several expansions had come out since last time I had played. So anyway, Mistweaver Monk is a healer, just kind of getting my bearings there. I see there are quests to pick up. Yeah, so new dungeon experience seems to almost always have quests to pick up at the start. There is no time to read what the quests actually ask me to do. I missed one. Go back for it. There it is. You gonna get it? What am I doing? I'm just kind of standing there. I'm waiting for the warrior tank to come through. Right. Guess I'm not picking up that quest. Okay, that's weird. Anyway, yeah, so at level 15, I did not have a whole lot of tools here. Basic flow of this. Wait for the tank, the protector, to go forward and start a fight. Watch those bars on the left as healer. Make sure to keep them up. Got some spells in the bottom that I can choose to heal. Complicated reasons for choosing one over the other. Again, I don't have a whole lot of tools here, so like the first 3 things on my action bar down there are attacks. Back at level 15, everything... Oh, somebody left. We needed a new one. Okay, this happens sometimes. I guess that person didn't want to do the dungeon. So new tank comes in. Fortunately, that queued quickly. That's the hardest role to fill. You're usually waiting a while for the tank to come in. Healers are a little easier. Damage is... There are a lot of those. A lot of classes can only be damage. Anyway, yeah, so all the abilities fit on my action bar that I had that are relevant here. I have like 3 attack abilities and 3 healing abilities. And some other stuff. I did pick up the quest. Alright, so we lost the warrior, got a druid instead. Some kind of turtle druid. I was not familiar with this. I'm used to druids being bears. Anyway, so at this point in the game, it seems like most people in the random dungeon finder know what they're doing pretty well. So I was just playing my role to the best of my ability, you know, quietly coming along with the group, keeping people healed. At this point I was focusing entirely on healing. Later I'll gain some more confidence and feel comfortable contributing to the damage a little bit when I can as a healer. A lot of the time, if I want to fill just empty time standing there doing nothing, then attacking is often the right thing to do. It's not always. Just kind of have to feel out the situation and decide when I need to heal and when I need to, when I can get away with attacking. So mostly just focusing on healing here. So right, 3 healing abilities right here. Number 4 is Vivify, so that's a hard cast, direct heal. 5 is Soothing Mist, that's what I'm using now, so it's a channeled heal over time. 6 is Enveloping Mist, puts a heal over time buff that's non-channeled. I don't know if I have the talent or the whatever you get at this point. At some point... oh right, they talk. At some point I gain the ability to instant cast both Vivify and Enveloping Mist while channeling Soothing Mist. I assume I don't have it here because I would have been using it if I did. Yeah, so I wanted to level this character from 1 to max level, just so I could experience the whole process. Because as I gain new abilities, and my abilities change as I level up, the feeling is different. Anyway, yeah, so first boss of the dungeon here. I guess just watch positioning, don't stand in the stuff that's falling. Keep those bars full. So yeah, all of the classic Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm dungeons are things that I had done before. But I'm refreshing my memory on them as I go through here. So I kinda know my way around here, but again, it's been a long time. This looks a little dicey. What is your plan here? Something's made me drunk. Yeah, looks like I didn't have the healing power to be able to do that right, because I didn't have the instant cast Vivify and Enveloping Mist. That's pretty important, to be able to actually dump my mana bar to get healing when it's needed. I was a little worried here because it used to be, back when I played before, that you click the Release Spirit button, and you go to the nearest graveyard outside the dungeon and have to actually run back outside to get back in there. But it looks like it just takes you to the dungeon entrance now. So that's nice. I was kind of worried about navigating. So yeah, all the players, basically all the players that I've encountered here while leveling, are just super chill, you know. There was a potty wipe there. Nobody cares. Just get back into it. No big deal. Like, I had encountered a lot of, you know, big egos, people who want to blame everybody for everything that goes wrong, except for themselves. But I just saw almost none of that this time around. It's real nice. Everybody's cool. Oh, I do have that ability. I guess I just... Okay. Just now I figured out how to use it. Okay, so I know what I should have done there now, but I didn't know it at the time. Again, so I'm making these blunders so that I don't have to continue making the blunders. I can learn from them, have a record of them, and play better because I reviewed what I did and figured out how to do it better. So let's see, what's the name of that other spell that I'm going to get at some point? Well, I don't have it yet, so it doesn't matter. That was one I wanted to talk about, but it's fine. So yeah, those enemies apply a drunk effect, which blurs my screen, that's why it looks like that. It's kind of annoying. I think I'm having a lot of, like, not really being sure where to stand. It's not always super clear, like, which enemies will do a cleaving attack, or, you know, sometimes you need to be out of line of sight, sometimes you just need to be far away to avoid a big attack. So again, those are just blunders you can make once and then learn from and not make again. Long as the group is cool. They're okay with people learning like that. Being a low-level dungeon, this one is pretty forgiving. Kind of? This run was actually a whole lot more dicey than I was expecting, because I remembered, you know, back in the day when I played this game before, the leveling dungeons were just such a non-issue. You know, I barely had to do anything when going through them, but some of these are balanced surprisingly tricky. Like, I had to stay on top of things. This was kinda the best time I've had in a video game in a long time right here. Had to do stuff and pay attention in a way that, like, a lot more than I expected, I guess. This was really great. Looks like I have enemy nameplates on. I go back and forth on that a little bit. As a healer, I guess, I don't know, they get in the way sometimes, but also they're nice. It can be a lot of clutter on the screen. So much of this is just... Okay, so let's see, what am I typically thinking about when I'm doing this? So I'm watching the bars on the left. Have to be very aware of what everybody's health is, how much damage they're taking, what I need to focus on. Watching my cooldowns, not really any to worry about at this point with these abilities. But later I'll get abilities that can only be used once every so often. Watching my mana bar, it's at about half now, the blue bar up in the upper left. Usually not a concern, but sometimes it can be if I have to do a lot of really heavy healing. Watching my position, when I know of things that I need to position for. This boss will have some things like that, I think. So that bomb there on the ground, yeah, there's a few of them now. I'm assuming you just kind of want to stay away from those. After going through several dungeons, I discovered that there's this super neat new feature, again, since I played the game last time, where there's this in-game reference. There's somebody standing on me and punching me. So I guess to teal through it until he jumps off. Anyway, there's this super neat in-game reference that'll tell you about every dungeon boss and what their abilities are. So if I can find a moment to read it between all the chaos of everybody running around doing what they do here, I can see which abilities to watch out for and what to do about them. Sometimes, kind of. It doesn't tell me everything, but it is very helpful. It would probably tell me about those bombs that are exploding there. Anyway, that's boss number 2 down. Whole lot more stuff popping up on the screen than I remembered, like, you know, who got what loot, various warnings and things when certain boss abilities come up. It's nice. I like what they've done with this game. So yeah, I started playing again, kind of, I was prompted by all the discourse I had seen among people I know about WoW Classic, which seems cool, but it wasn't really what appealed to me. I wanted to see the modern version and what it had become. So yeah, I like the way it is now. There were things I liked about the way it was, but I feel like each expansion seems to have polished it up a little better. I just wanted to see what they had done and visit my old haunts. Got that quest there I could click to complete. I guess I didn't realize that. There's a lot going on the screen. It's easy to miss, you know, that little glowing thing over on the side when my eyes are everywhere else. I think, yeah, I'll find this out at the end of the dungeon. If I had completed that now, which I can just do at any time by clicking it, it would chain on to another quest that I need for the end of this dungeon. I did a second run through this one. So interesting thing about leveling now, it's extremely fast, at least through the classic stuff. I was making sure I had time to record a run through it, at least one run through each dungeon. It turned out that was pretty tight. Like, I had trouble fitting all of the dungeons into a, 15 to 60 leveling curve. There are lots of experience bonuses and things that I can get toward the end of it. So I can't queue for classic dungeons after level 60, is the problem. So I had to make sure if I was going to record them, I had to get them all done before then. There's a way to stop getting experience in this game, which I haven't had to use yet. As of this recording time, I'm right around level 78, I think. And at level 81, I lose the ability to queue for some dungeons. And I still have 6 to go. No, I'm level 79 right now. So yeah, might have to turn off experience, because I doubt I can fit 6 dungeons into one level's experience bar. But it shouldn't have to be for very long. Anyway, next boss. I'm just kind of going to stand far away, watch the bars, not worry about too much else. Man, I'm doing so much hard casting of Enveloping Mist. That's something I never do anymore. Always be channeling Soothing Mist first before casting it. Is how it is now. But I was just learning my class at this point. Even though that druid looks like a turtle, apparently that is bear form. There's a lot of items in this game that can make you look like something else. I don't know if this character is using a, this player is using one of those or something. Or if, is that a Zandalari troll? Yeah, Zandalari troll druid. Maybe that's just what Zandalari troll bears look like? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I'm still getting to know. I can't create a Zandalari troll until I think, level to max and get a certain faction's reputation up to exalted something something. Haven't unlocked that race for creation yet, so I can't experiment myself and find out things like that. Still working on it. So yeah, pretty much just focusing on this one monk character right now, getting her to max level. Then I'll think about other classes and stuff at some point. Back when I played before, I was on the other faction, and I had like 7 characters at max level. Maybe it wasn't that many. It was a bunch, though. Played a lot of different classes and enjoyed it. Spent more time on that than I probably should have. That's just kind of how this game is. It's a lot of fun, though. Just have to make sure to keep it at healthy levels. Bars are mostly staying full. We had that one wipe. I can now see very clearly, well, kind of why it happened. I'm not sure what was causing, I'll have to take another look, what was causing all the damage. But I do see why I wasn't able to heal through it, because I just wasn't using my instant Enveloping Mist and Vivify during the Soothing Mist channel. But then I figured that out mid-dungeon. I'm doing it now. So I knew what I was doing there. Anyway, yeah, so like I said, I played a lot of different classes. I was familiar with all the dungeon roles. I'm intending to, once I finish leveling this healer, a monk can be a tank if I use a different spec. I wanted to level as a healer because, you know, I kind of get a moderate amount of responsibility. It's not the least responsibility in a dungeon role, but it's not the most. So I just wanted to redo the dungeons like that, kind of get more familiar with them. Then I'll level a tank and, you know, be comfortable leading the group and knowing the routes and stuff. Oh boy, here comes some mishaps. So a mechanic I had forgotten about here is that. So right on those things, cannonballs fly down periodically and can knock you right off the bridge. So I was trying to figure out how you get back up onto it. Can't jump onto that, wouldn't lead up even if you could. So I took the only way I could see, all the way back there. So I just have to hope that the group will be okay without their healer for a little while. Stuff like that I don't think actually shows up in the dungeon guide. So yeah, now I see what's happening. Those explode occasionally. I have that roll move that lets me move quickly occasionally. I'm looking to see when I'm going to be in range to heal. They're managing on their own okay. I assume everybody there just kind of figured out what had happened. One person died, but it's not the one who's most important to keep alive. So I managed to catch up before the entire group got wiped out. So at the pace that people play in the random dungeon finder, you know, there's often, like, not really time to, stop and deal with things like this because everybody just sort of goes at full speed until the dungeon is done. Let's see, you have to wait until combat has ended to resurrect, so I'm waiting for that one thing to die. Alright, so I can see that the little badge on my name changed back to my level instead of the swords icon, so I can resurrect now. Again, hopefully they'll be okay without their healer for a moment while I cast this long charge up time spell. Everything was fine. This is all part of the fun, just improvising when things go wrong. The next time I ran this dungeon, because I happened to do it twice while I was leveling here, I managed to get pushed off by those cannonballs again. This time I knew they were there, but I just misjudged one. That was also fine. I got back before anything went wrong. I knew the way to get back then. That is some heavy damage. Same person died again. Oh man, I had those voice clips on. I end up turning those off. So if you don't turn off a thing in the settings, your character will talk to you a whole lot about things that are going wrong. I need to get closer. I can't carry anymore. I don't have enough mana. I'm facing the wrong way. Well, they don't actually say that one to you. Anyway, they're very talky if you don't turn it off. I opt not to say very much in the party chat here. People are being nice and giving tips, like, hey, this went wrong because you did that. Probably best not to do that. I'll talk when I need to, but it's my preference just not to. I know some people don't like it, but I actually really enjoy the flow of the, you know, random group of people get together, everybody kinda knows what they're doing, everybody kind of assumes everybody else knows what they're doing, to a certain extent, and just kinda goes at top speed through this whole dungeon. It's not too hard to just kind of infer what you need to do most of the time, if everybody else there mostly knows what they're doing. A few of these dungeons have some kind of obtuse mechanics that you really just have to know ahead of time, and you can't just infer. But most of them, you can just kind of play along okay. Pretty soon, in just a few more levels for me, I'm going to be getting into territory where I'll be doing dungeons that I have never done before. So learning those fresh, that'll be fun. Anyway, last boss of the dungeon. Oh man, these voice clips, you end up hearing these so many times. They're okay once, but I get real tired of them. If I had completed that quest that's lit up over on the right, I would have another one to kill this guy. I guess maybe that's one reason that I did a second run of this dungeon. I think I did that intentionally, so that I could actually complete that quest. Anyway, all part of the learning experience. I can smell your fear. So I think fog rolls in, he just disappears for a little while. Some of those spirits come in, knock them down, you know. Healer doesn't have to worry about that too much. Just keep everybody alive. Healing's fun. I'm not sure if it's my favorite dungeon roll. I enjoy all of them, really. But I do definitely enjoy healing. It can get a little bit monotonous at times, because you're kind of just doing the same thing over and over, but I guess that's really true of the other rolls, too, to some degree. It's a lot less about, you know, maximizing your threat or your damage, and more about just maintaining. You know, watch the situation carefully. Know when you need to use what. Just go with the flow. Right, so there's a bonus boss in here. So let's see, this dungeon, Deadmines, was redone completely, well not completely, but redone substantially for Cataclysm. So I had seen this in its original form before that was a thing. Was it Cataclysm or was it... It was Wrath, wasn't it? One of those two expansions, I forget which one. Anyway, yeah, so there were sort of two different versions of this. You can tell a newer dungeon from an older one by mostly whether it has voice acting or not. The newer ones are a little more polished. I didn't know what was going on here. Still kinda don't. So like it throws out food, some of it's rotten. Don't eat the rotten food, I guess just don't stand near it. You can eat the normal food, I guess. It's giving me some kind of buff. I don't know, this is a weird, gimmicky... Right, so I'm standing near the rotten food. It's not really... Oh yeah, it's doing stuff to me. Okay, I see. My eyes are in so many other things during this that, you know, it's nice to be able to do it a second time. There we go. Okay. Dungeon complete. Get the achievement. Lots of things pop up. Hooray! That was the most talking that I did for the first, you know, several dungeons I did. One or two emotes. That was how I chose to express myself.
Time is money, friend.
So complete this one. Is this only the beginning? Yeah. So right, this chains on to killing Admiral Ripsnarl, the dude we just killed before Captain Cookie there. So that's the point at which I realized, whoops, I'm gonna have to run this dungeon again. Everybody's leaving because they're all done. You know, they've turned in their quests. They did what there is to do here. And that was that. What am I looking for? Right. Go here, leave instance group. So leave the group, and I just get teleported right back to where I was. Alright, and I'll show the wrap-up here too. Got a few items there. Hadn't really been paying attention mid-dungeon to the upgrades and stuff that I'd gotten, so that's obviously a better cloak. Put that on. Since this was a random dungeon queue, I got a satchel of helpful goods, so that has an appropriately leveled thing in it for me. The gear system was a whole lot different from how I remembered it. There's this whole level scaling system where like everything's kind of the same, regardless of what your level is if you're in a certain range. I don't know, it was different from what I was used to, but it's fine. So you just get kind of like semi-generic gear here that's good for your spec, so it's nice. Put on that ring, and yeah, that was Deadmines. Cool stuff. See you for the next one of these.